And now, it's time for An Audience with the Pope, featuring esteemed, distinguished, and renowned trial attorney, Anthony Pope.
Anthony, do you use that intro when you enter a room at like a party or something?
I absolutely do, Joe. I have it recorded, and as I walk in anywhere, including the court, the judges don't like it, but I play it.
I think you should play that in the courtroom, man. This morning, you're Anthony Pope. Oh, you're always, fighting for somebody, and we love you for that, Anthony. It'd be great. Just a little. You have a boom box, and the judge would love that, Anthony Pope. Huh? Come on, I love it, man. Hey, you doing okay? I know you're in the middle of a trial now, Anthony, and thanks for stepping away.
No, that's right. There's a lot of Mama Lukes out there, Joe.
Oh my gosh! Hey, give us your take on how the impeachment trial is playing out, Anthony Pope, please.
Pretty much the way I think everybody anticipated. It's very partisan. But the reality of it is what this is right now is this is an opportunity for both sides to present to the Senate a reason why it should go forward. Sort of like in a trial when you have an indictment and you go before a judge and you say, listen, Your Honor, there's really no law broken here. The indictment does not cite appropriate law or sufficient amount of law or evidence to support even taking you to trial. We're asking you to dismiss it. So the first thing that the Senate's going to have to resolve is whether or not they believe that a prima facie showing of what they have charged the president with can go forward, or should the Senate just dismiss it? Based on, it's really analogous in the courts, in the criminal courts, as a directed verdict of acquittal. So we have to see what plays out there. As I see this case, though, I'm trying to find where the crime is. Yeah. When I look at the articles of impeachment, I just don't see a crime. And I'm not a constitutional scholar by any means, but if you listen to Alan Dershowitz yesterday a little bit, he made a pretty strong case as to why this is not a crime. And if it's not a crime, you can have all the evidence in the world of what you're claiming. But if what you're claiming is not a crime, it shouldn't go any further. So, this last revelation, if you will, and I don't know that it is, because I don't know whether it's true or not, about Bolton having the book and saying he was there, it gained a little bit of momentum, but the reality still is, if it's not a crime, what's the difference? These people are trying to infer what the president's mindset was. Was it about corruption, the conversation, or was it simply based on whether he wanted to get some favor for the election if and when he runs against Joe Biden? I still am having a hard time finding the crime in what the president is alleged to have done. The conversation took place. There's no question about it. But I don't see anything criminal in that conversation.
Yeah, Anthony Pope, help me out here, because I was talking about this earlier. Now the president's counsel is in the Senate, and they're, defending the president and did a brilliant job, Jay Sekulow and team, right? So then right after that, they took a break. And then Adam Schiff surfaces on television, like to answer back what they said. And now in a court of law, I guess it's legal, because I think the Republicans did the same thing, when Adam Schiff was droning on for 12 hours at a time, and then Jerry Nadler, and I believe that then the president's counsel came out and they held a press conference as well. Does that happen?
You could listen, Joe, if I'm on trial and it's a trial that's being covered by the press and I walk out the door, if I want to and they say to me, well, Mr. Pope, what do you think about what the government just stated?
Yeah.
And I go, well, it's inconsistent with what I already stated to the jury. So you can make some comment on it. In a court of law, we're a little bit more cautious because there are ethics rules of professional conduct that limit us as to what we could say. But certainly the response is not illegal or it's not inappropriate. And unfortunately, Joe, politics is politics, man, and it is what it is.
I know, and I'm looking now. You, Anthony, as an Italian American, you always make us proud in the way you carry yourself as a legal mind, a brilliant legal mind. In the forum of law. Michael Avenatti, on the other hand, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, oh my God, talk about Mama Luke's. His trial began yesterday, and I lost track of all the Avenatti legal problems. Which trial is this? Is this the IRS thing, or is this the Nike thing?
Oh, this is the one with Nike. This is the one where he allegedly threatened to publicly accuse Nike employees of improper and illegal conduct. And in exchange for not revealing that, he asked the Nike to pay $1.5 million to his client. And then in addition to that, though, in Michael Avenatti's style, he wanted them to give him millions of dollars so he could have an internal investigation. And it all stemmed from a March, I think, in 2019, where a coach at an amateur basketball program, Nike, was no longer planning to sponsor. And this coach contacted Avenatti and said that he had evidence that the company illicitly paid for families of top high school basketball players. And that's what generated, that was the precursor for Avenatti reaching Nike and making these threats to Nike. The government is alleging it's extortion. I think it's one of those that the jury's going to have to call. They'll get the definition of what extortion is. The defense will certainly allege that this was appropriate legalese or legal lawyering to call up a company when you have evidence. And look, everybody's done it. I've done that. You can make a demand on a company or an entity if you believe your client has been damaged somehow and try to make a settlement of it before it actually goes into a lawsuit. So the general argument is that that's certainly proper as a lawyer. The question is, what was his real motive here? And are these tactics that he used crossed the line and became really extortion? So the government has an argument. There's no question about it. How the jury rules, I'm not sure, but they have an argument. So that's the first trial, and that's the jury selection is going on right now. And then the second trial, as I understand it, is the one where he's accused of taking money, skimming money from Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the second one.
After all of that. Anthony, but...
After all of that, I mean, it's amazing. You can't make this stuff up.
You can't.
And then the third one, of course, seems to me to be somewhat really much broader and much more sweeping, and that's the one in California where he's accused of fraud, perjury, failure to pay tax.
Wow.
Embezzlement.
Unbelievable.
I mean, and they have, putting together shell companies to launder money and to hide money. And the judge in California basically remanded his bail, I guess, about a week or two ago because the government showed that he just wasn't stopping, that he was out there just avoiding paying people and skimming and doing whatever he had to do. So the judge revoked his bail.
Yeah.
He was brought to New York for this trial. So that's what Mr. Avenatti's facing. He's got some hurdles, that's for sure.
Avenatti. Anthony Pope, good luck in your trial today. We appreciate you taking time out to chat with us always, Anthony. We love you, and we'll see you soon, my friend. God bless. Anthony
see you
Pope.
next week. Thanks, guys.
There's
Bye-bye.
the man right there. Anthony Pope, renowned New Jersey attorney, chief legal analyst for AM 970. The Answer.